Joining us now on Can I Media, TJ Larkin. You are with Larkin Communications in New York. Tell us about your role here in Alberta, because you make a lot of trips out here.
Yes, we specialize in safety communication, particularly in oil and gas. And we're looking at, well, how do you do communication that's easier to understand and then actually changes behavior? So the communication should have two goals. You should be able to understand it easily, and you should be able to change people's behavior.
So do you find then when companies put something together that it is complicated and is lots of times unable to change behavior?
Yeah, it's necessarily complicated because a lot of the accidents and things that happen are complicated, but there are clear ways to describe them. And what you want to do is you want to move away from abstraction and towards concreteness. So the more images, drawings, photographs, illustrations you have in the document, the higher the understanding. A good hand-drawn diagram can increase comprehension by 600%. So what we tell people is you got to start moving away from solid blocks of text, and you got to start moving to diagram with very small text boxes around the outside, and you get hundreds of % improvement in comprehension.
Is this something that the industry should be moving towards because this is the way people think today, or is this something that should have been in practice years ago and would have made a difference back then?
It should have been in practice years ago because it isn't that people are thinking more that way today, it's that the human brain evolved to think this way. The species is 125,000 years old. Almost all of that time was spent manipulating objects. Hunting, fishing, building, cooking, making things. We are a creature that manipulates objects. We are not creatures who read and write. That's a very foreign activity. So you want to take your complex idea and you want to translate it into objects to get it closer to what the brain is used to dealing with.
I mean, it's almost seems to be what the web is trying to do. It simplifies everything and keeps it shorter and more concise. Is that, in essence, what you're trying to do as well?
You know, a web page is good because no one would put a solid page of text on a web page. It's just instinctively you realize, well, we shouldn't do that. And they're right. They really shouldn't do that. But there's also the danger. The thing that's important is we're not going to simplify the content. The content's still complex. It just is going to be portrayed through illustrations and objects, which will increase the comprehension. So I don't mean take a complicated event and make it simple. I just want to take a complicated event and make it easy to understand.
The people who put these documents together, they understand them. And they seem to think that this is the best way to communicate it, obviously. As being an outside person, does that make it easier for you to cut through all the excess and get to the point?
Yes, it does. We're in the habit of communicating. What is dying are paragraphs and solid pages of text. Now, we can debate whether it's good or bad that's dying. There are a number of people in my field who think that that's really important for critical thought. We should have long pages of text. That argument doesn't matter. People aren't reading long pages of text. All you got to do is talk to anybody who puts on a newspaper today. They will tell you people aren't reading long pages of text anymore. So you have to adapt. Now, you have two ways to adapt. You can just simplify everything, which is not what we do. Or you can take the complex content and find a way to re-communicate it so it's easier to understand.
Is the petroleum industry an easy industry to get through to?
Yes and no. It is easy because when mistakes happen in this industry, they're very serious. People and the environment and equipment get seriously damaged. This is a serious industry, and that makes them easier to talk to. They really do want people to understand. What makes it hard is there's this horrible thing that happens in society. When writing is difficult to understand, people assume the writer is a smart person, when in fact the writer is a dumb person. It's not useful to give people communication they can't understand. And petroleum has that. Well, this must be a really smart person. I can't understand this. And that makes it very hard to work in the industry.
So, assuming that people can't all go out and hire your company, Larkin Communications, to get this done, give us a couple of quick pointers that you would suggest to a company to try to implement when it comes to discussing safety with its employees.
Yeah, we can do your communication for you and it will be better, but it's more valuable when we just show you what it is you do. And what you do is you got that solid page of text in front of you. You immediately know that's going to be a problem. And you get out a paper and pencil and you first understand what they're trying to say, and then you draw the diagram. You think, well, what's going on here? Why did this pipe explode? Where were the pressures? Where were the valves? Where was the piping? Where were the employees? You draw everything. You do small blocks of text around that drawing with arrows pointing to the right things, and then you just scan it and attach it to the surface. And if you do that, you should get somewhere between 100 and 600% improvement in comprehension. And that you can do yourself. You don't need an outsider to do that.
Should you be following that up with your employees then and ensuring that they do understand what you're trying to get across, especially if you're going about it a new way?
Well, that's a really good question. That's a smart question. You can design really good pieces of communication and have illustrations and call-out text all around it, but that doesn't mean people will change. So the second part of it is you take that page to frontline supervisors and you have a one-on-one casual conversation with them based on that page. Now, you and I can't have a conversation about a page of text. It doesn't work that way. But we can have a conversation about an illustration and a drawing and a diagram. You'll ask me questions, I'll answer. Now, if you can convince the frontline supervisors that they can deliver that piece of paper, then they'll tell their people. And that's what you need, because a message from a frontline supervisor is 14 times more likely to change behavior than a document alone. So you need that informal face-to-face communication, but they won't do it if you start with a page of text.
TJ, thank you very much.
I enjoyed it. Thank you.
All right. We've been chatting with TJ Larkin of Larkin Communications in New York, right here on Can I Media, coming to you from Banff.